Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Agritech Founders Diary. Here we have conversation with amazing entrepreneurs who are doing stuff in the agritech space. Today is not different. We have another amazing entrepreneurs joining us from New Jersey. Is no other person than Mr. Luis, the founder and the CEO of Agrobyte. Agrobyte is a drone company. There is a company that fly drones, and beside the flying of drones, they also train people. They train people to become drone pilots, and they certify them to become drone pilots. Today, Mr. Lewis will be sharing his experience and lessons he have learned while building this company. We are so excited to have him join us this evening. We've been chasing Mr. Lewis for some time now. He has been busy traveling here and there. We are so excited to have him join us this evening. But before we move on, guys, it has come to our notice that over 65% of people watching our podcast don't actually subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please, I want to appeal to you, do it to subscribe to our YouTube channel so we can grow. We have a lot of amazing guests coming up to the show. Please, we need you to subscribe to the channel so we can go and get more people on board. And don't also forget to hit the notification button so you can get notified whenever we are live like this. Drop your comments, drop your questions, and hit the likes button so we can get a good rate. Thank you very much for joining us once again, everyone. We are super excited to have you on board. And thank you to Mr. Lewis for joining us this evening. Thank you very much. We're so excited. So let's start. Mr. Lewis.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm sorry for the difficulties.
Yes, no problem.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
No echo? No echo?
Yes, no network, no issues. We can hear you clearly. So, Mr. Lewis,
Okay, good.
we want to share with us everything about where it all started from, where you were born, where you grew up from, the school you attended. Take us back to where it all started from.
Excuse me, there's some echo on your end.
Sorry?
There is some echo. On your end, I couldn't hear you.
Okay, let me repeat the question again. I say, can you take us back to where it all started from, where you grew up from, the school you've attended, and tell us everything about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Luis Escobedo. I am from Mexico City. I have been in drone since. Again, sorry. There's all the echo. So I can hear you when you are listening. Okay, so my name is Agrobyte in 2010. My background has been in renewable in wind farms and solar farms. And then I started using drones using drones in order to thermal sensors to scan and to inspect solar farms. I'm sorry, can I mute your I cannot. Yes, thank you. Okay. So yes, I was telling that I started using drones in 2017. In 2018, doing some aerial thermography. I partnered with an American company. So what we did is we started collecting data. We started collecting data with thermal sensors. At that time, we were using an XT640x512. So then we process all this imagery using a software that with artificial intelligence helps us identify several anomalies within a solar farm. Meaning there were hotspots, diode malfunctions, string anomalies in general, So then is when I started seeing all the benefits of drones in general. So I started getting some interesting projects in Mexico. At the time, I was already getting like 70% of the market share of the solar farms in Mexico. And then is when I realized that somehow I was going to be capped, and because there's a limited number of solar farms. However, when we talk about agriculture, the market is infinite, So then is when I started doing my research and learning more about drones in general. So I went from Mexico City to New Jersey to this academy, to this drone academy, NJ Drone Academy, to get trained on drones, to start, understanding what else they could do. And in 2019 is when I founded Agrobyte. So what I have been doing with Agrobyte is basically integrating technology. It is not just using the sprayer drones. It is not just using the multispectral drones, but integrating the tools. Creating a workflow where you can go, you can map, and then you can understand the health of the crops, and then you can create a prescription that should be executed whether by a sprayer drone or by a tractor. Uh-huh. So since then, I have been messing around with different kind of software. We are currently Pix4D partners. We are Solid partners. We are robotics partners. We're close to get a Gremo, because the idea is that we can offer our customers the ideal solution for the crops. It's not going to be the same if you are working on extensive crops like corn, like soybean, than if you are working on high value crops like berries, like asparagus, or a vineyard, So depending on the crop, we give you the ideal software that you should use. We show you which sensor you have to use. In some cases, multispectral sensors are going to be the ones that we will tell you all different vegetation indices. However, there are some platforms, there are some softwares that they just use RGB imagery. I mean, red, green, blue. So, for example, if you want to do some plant count, then you should you just need to use an RGB sensor. With this one, we can use the Mavic Air 2S, for example. So, because that was one of the biggest obstacles that I found when talking about technology in agriculture. In the beginning, if you want to start messing around with technology in agriculture or with sensors, with drones in agriculture, then you have to buy a multispectral sensor, the microsense, for example, and then you have to buy a big drone, and then you have to pay for an expensive software. So back in the days, it was like very expensive to put a foot in precision agriculture. You need to have a good amount of money just to start. Nowadays, technology has evolved, and you can start messing around with digital agriculture just with a 20 megapixels RGB sensor. That means if you have a Mavic Pro, if you have a Mavic 2 Pro, if you have a Mavic Air 2S, with that one, you can start collecting data and you can start processing it through a software like Solvi, for example. A software like Solvi allows you to count plants using artificial intelligence, using machine learning, and provide a client with a very precise estimation, precise number of what they're gonna, how you say, produce in that farm, in that year, in that cycle. And Then again, we also use multispectral sensors. In this case, the multispectral sensors help us understand the health of the crops. So just yesterday, we gave a 5 hours training course on the Mavic 3 multispectral drone, where we show them what you can do with this amazing tool. In this case, the Mavic 3 multispectral is a very cool drone because it can do multispectral. It has 4 sensors. It has the red, it has the blue, no, it has the red, it has the green, it has the red edge, and then it has the infrared. Then, you can collect interesting imagery, and then also it has the RGB 20 megapixel sensors. So it is more than enough to start, how you say, generating prescription maps. So right now we have we have our main location is in New Jersey, but we are also now opening a new location in Mexico, in San Carlos, that is near Arizona, near the states. Where our team is Dan Weeks, who is our tech guy. He has been working with drones since 2015. So let's say that he's the guy that helps us unbox and set up the equipment, the sprayer drones in this case, and also the multispectral. And then we have Mike. Mike, he's in charge of all the digital agriculture, all the software and technology. So with Mike, we can understand the different advantages from different softwares. You know, the cons and pros if you buy one software or another. So the thing about digital agriculture is, if you are not a farmer, if you are not an agronomist, you are just a drone service provider, and you want to join this industry, there's a lot to do. You know, there's like too much information. It's overwhelming. So what we try to do with our clients is understand first their
Sorry, let me come in like this. Sorry, mute your mic. Let me come in like this. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So you've told us about your company. Let's talk about you. Tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up from? Where did you grow up from? Tell us about yourself. Give us some insights about yourself.
About what?
About yourself. Tell us about yourself. Where did you grow up from? Where were you born? Tell us about yourself. We want to know more about you.
Okay. I am a city guy. Could you please mute? Yes, thank you. Yes, I am from Mexico City. I grew up in Mexico City, in the middle of the jungle. You know that it's a big city. It's a 20 million inhabitant city. So to be honest, at a time I didn't have too much access to rural communities or to farming areas. But I always kind of liked it. I did my bachelor's degrees. I studied international relations. So yes, I still I didn't know that I was gonna focus in agriculture. I started working in 2008 for a German wind energy company. And then is when I started realizing the potential of agriculture. My part of my job when I was developing wind farms was to locate sites that has specific requirements. You know, it has to be this big, it has to be close to the substation, it has to be windy, it has to be sunny, it has many characteristics. And then what I had to do is to convince the landowners to sign a long-term land lease agreement, so we can rent their land in order to build a wind farm or later a solar farm. So then is when I started understanding the economics of land. Many people will tell me, "Oh no, I cannot rent you my land because I am getting much more money just by producing wheat or producing corn or producing beans or whatever. So there is where I started to understand the economics, the value of the land, and when I started seeing the potential of technology in agriculture. You know that in Mexico, well, we are let's face it, we are a third world country with many poverty, with many difficulties. So, but still, so I started talking to the farmers, to some, yes, to some people from rural communities. And then I realized that not because they are in a remote area, they are not able to understand technology. So then is when I started like thinking that agriculture was going to be transformed in the following years. It is when I saw that it was a matter of time when farmers will start getting their or using their phones, using drones, using computers for a better farm management. So I don't know. Well, in Mexico, I remember that, for example, 15 years ago, it was kind of surprising when you saw that the cleaning lady had a smartphone. It was like 15 years ago. Oh, the cleaning lady, she has a smartphone. Wow. But now, like, it's like normal. Like, everyone has a smartphone. You cannot live without a smartphone, basically. So that is what I think that is going to happen with agriculture. I cannot imagine farming the way we are
Okay,
farming
sorry,
in
sorry.
10
Let me
years.
ask you. Sorry, sorry to interrupt you. What I wanted to narrow down some of the things I really wanted to touch for us. Building this company, what are some of the challenges you face while building your Agrobyte? Tell me, like, 4 to 5 challenges you faced while building this company,
There's a
and
what
how
of the
did you
five what?
overcome those challenges?
There's a what of the five what?
5 challenges. Just give us some 5 challenges you faced while building this company, and how did you overcome those challenges?
I cannot understand you.
I
Five
cannot
like
understand
stages.
you. Five like stages.
Mute your mic. Mute your mic, please. Mute your mic. Okay, can you hear me now? So can you list five things? Just give me like 4 to 5 challenges you faced while building your company, and how did you overcome that challenges? Thank you. That's the question. What are the 5 challenges you faced? Just give me some 5 challenges you faced while building your company, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Okay.
Okay.
So, well, first of all was the well, farmers in general, when they started seeing drones or technology in their fields, that they will doubt that this technology will be helpful for them. Many farmers in United States, in Mexico, all over, they have been farming, they have been managing their crops uh, traditional ways since the last maybe 100 years. Of course, that different agro products have evolved. However, they are very difficult. They are very, how to say, um, they are not so eager to try a new technology. So the first years they were difficult because you have to show and you have to prove that technology works, that you can make more money using technology, that if you're a farmer, your return of investment will be higher by using technology. But then it takes time. And then, so that would be one challenge. Then another challenge, well, the understanding, Kenneth, just the understanding of what you can do in general with digital agriculture. Many people, they are just focused on sprayer drones, let's say. So okay, sprayer drones, they will be like the natural substitute of a tractor, you know. So sometimes you can use whether a tractor or a sprayer drone. So and they are good. However, if you use the sprayer drone by itself, then it's okay. It's gonna give you some interesting results. However, if you use this drone and before you map the land with a multispectral drone, you process the imagery through software like Pix for the fields, like Solvi, like Agremo, where you can then analyze the health of the crop, where you can then create a prescription map and then execute a mission with a sprayer drone, then is when it started to make sense, like when you have like the workflow, you know. And so that is just step one, because step two is to start using drones, but on a regular basis. It's not like just like call me once a year or twice a year and then, oh yes, I need your mapping services, I need your sprayer services. No, the idea is to start using drone for preventive maintenance, you know. As I told you before that I have been working for wind energy and for solar energy companies. And part of my job in the last years in that industry was focused in O&M, in operations and maintenance. So in this case, that knowledge is that knowledge that I want to put into agriculture. How should we increase the yield of our crops by doing preventive maintenance? You know, so besides saving money on herbicides or pesticides by doing variable rate application. So if you want to do variable rate application, then you have to understand like all these concepts. So let's say that you want to spray 100 hectares cornfield, and then you are planning to apply 1 gallon per hectare. It's just an example. So let's say that if you don't use variable rate application, then you have to spend 100 gallons for your land, right? However, maybe you don't your land don't need 100 gallons. Maybe it is just one part of the farm that will need to be sprayed. You know, so that's why sensors and these software start to make sense, because then you can see, oh, okay, I'm scanning the land, then I see, oh, okay, instead of just applying in general 100 gallons, I would just apply then 80 gallons, because these areas, they are healthy, so there's no need to apply herbicide, apply any other agro product in a part where it's not needed, you know. So then you already have a saving of 20%, 20 gallons. And as you may know, each gallon of these products, they are very expensive. So if you multiply these times the number of hectares that you want, then is when you start realizing that the use of drones just makes sense. It is not a luxury. It's not like, oh, what a fancy farm. No, indeed, that fancy farm, they are how you say, they are paying less for their operation than traditional ways. So that's the idea. So for that, of course, that it's important to also have a deep understanding of soil maps. You know, it's important to always have a direct communication with the farmer to, because you are also learning from them. It's not like you are just giving a prescription and then that's it. It's a two ways job, where you have to understand their necessities, and then you have to offer them the tools that they could use in order to have a better farm management. So I think that answering to your question, I think that education has been like the bigger obstacle, and it has been like little by little that farmers start to
Okay. I'm so sorry, guys. Uh, I think we've lost Mr. Luis again. I think, but so far he has shared that one of the challenges they've experienced in their business is the challenges from challenges of lack of education. That's one gap that they need to cover. Um, one gap they need to cover is challenges with the you know um, with the farm workers, with the farmers, lack of education among the farmers. But however, I'm so sorry we've lost him. Maybe this might be all we can take so far today with Mr. Luis. Um, so far, this might be all we can do today. It's been a pleasure having you guys joining me on the studio this evening. I'm so sorry for the whole uh network issues, the whole network challenges. I'm so sorry for the whole issue so far today. All right, but I think it's here. On this note, I'm going to call it a day. This is all we can take from Mr. Luis so far. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for joining us this evening. As always, we promise to always come bring guests to you. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not subscribed. Don't forget to hit the notification button to get notified whenever we are up. Please hit the likes button and drop your comment, drop your question. Are you interested in becoming a drone pilot? You have any questions you want to ask Mr. Luis? You can drop them in the comment section, and we will do our best to make sure the questions gets to Mr. Luis to provide answers for us. Um, so it's on this note, we're going to call it a day. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. Please, once again, before we go tonight, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.